Hello and welcome to the video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at this new updated plane from Hobby King. This is the new Bonsai II. Now for those of you that have been watching the channel for a while, you'll know that I've had loads of Hobby King wings, particularly the larger Texumo. We've put things like APM on those things, we've put iNav systems on them as well as kept them as very light, agile flying wings, and they are fabulous fun. I have lots of friends who, when they see the Texumo zooming and flipping around, always end up buying one. But the Bonsai has been the smaller brother, and we looked at the Bonsai a while ago and we did a pretty traditional setup on there, and we did a 2S battery, and again it flew like a dream. These things always do. Now Hobby King though have brought out this new version, so in this video I really want to concentrate on the changes and differences and also give you some of the setup tips that I've come across in terms of the elevon angles for level flight when the centre of gravity is in the right spot, and also a little trick with the ESC as well. I have a couple of versions of the Bonsai here. I managed to get a couple before they came out, so big thank you to Hobby King for sorting me out with that. And these are the ones that actually already have the ESC and everything already installed. So all you have to do is install your receiver, set your throws, glue the little wing tips in place, and you're pretty much ready to rock and roll. So when you open the box, just like the original Bonsai, it comes in one big piece, but they've definitely improved the packing to make sure that yours arrives in one piece, which is very welcome indeed. So let me just show you some of the key features in here and the differences. So we have a YEP 18 amp ESC, which actually YEP ESCs are pretty good. I've never used them before, but I know lots of people who have, who really rate them. There's an FPV mount on the front now for a little FPV camera. I think that's for those little FPV units that Hobby King sell. We have 9-gram servos out in the wing, and the servo geometry is very different, and also the support at the back is different too. The connection into the actual control surface is much improved. You get a little bag of bits that has the reinforcing tape. Definitely put that over the leading edges again, because that's where all the damage is going to be. It's particularly sticky, and then the only little bit of putting this thing together you're really going to have to do is to pop the Bonsai winglets on the end. Now if you grab the old Bonsai and put them side by side, the new Bonsai looks like a really different shape, but I think that's to do with the new striking colour scheme. If you actually overlay the two models one on top of the other, they look very, very similar indeed, and the winglets look the same size as well. In terms of the sweep and everything else, it looks like the main part of the wing is very, very similar indeed. Now I worked pretty hard on my original build to try and make it as neat as possible, and I did the same when I put this one together as well. The other big change of course that you've spotted is going to be the motor mount. That is the V-Spec 1808 2400 kV motor supplied with a 6x4 prop, and that is going to be fine for a 2S setup. I'm actually going to use mine on 3S. We'll talk about that more in a second, but that should give me a little bit more power. But to do that I'm probably going to have to drop the prop down by an inch, so I'm going to have to just cut half an inch off each end. There's loads of room underneath. The actual space for the electronics has been improved on the new version, so that means trying to fit everything in that little space that we had in the original Bonsai is going to be less of a heartache. In fact, I'm going to use an XM Plus receiver in here, so the little bit of space that's left underneath for the receiver is going to be easily enough for me to get everything all connected. So, quick summary of what's changed then. First of all, the motor mount has changed significantly. It's now carbon fibre, and it's attaching slightly different. From the flying I've done here, it seems to be working fantastically well. The ESC and the motor that's now supplied with it is very good. The way that the control horns and the control rods work and are connected and adjusted is much more traditional now as well. I really like that improvement. It allows you to set the elevon angle to be spot on for straight and level flight when you've got the CG there. The electronics bay is far bigger than it was. I've actually covered my receiver here on the right hand side with a little bit of the packing foam. I kind of shaved it down to the right size and popped it over the top. Blob of hot glue, that should hopefully keep it out of harm's way for the majority of the time. I've left the ESC uncovered for airflow and cooling. I'm using an 853S milliamp hour pack. The YEP 18 amp speed controller is actually 2 to 4S capable, so it's going to handle the 3S. For the motor with a 3S, 6x4 is far too much prop, and I only had 50/50 dowel props here, so in the end I actually had to cut half an inch off each end and kind of balance and trim the prop up, and that's been working absolutely fine. Took a couple of throws initially to get the plane flying well. That's because I'd given the control surfaces both a slight up tilt of about 13 degrees, which is what the Texumo needs to have. Don't need anything like that on the Bonsai 2. When you got the centre of gravity spot on as per the manual, then all you need to do is have a very slight up tilt on both control surfaces and it should fly straight and level. So it took me a couple of quick flights just to dial in that trim on the radio, and then once that trim was set I started to fly around, and this was my first proper flight with the wing. Now these Bonsai wings are very small and lightweight, and with the 2 or 3S setup they go like absolute stink, and because they're small they get very small in the sky very quickly indeed. That very bright colour scheme on this new one is great. It's a slightly overcast day when I'm flying here, and being able to see those yellow flashes and black markings on the top of the wing is helping with orientation. I'm flying at about 35% throttle here, and that's easily enough for pootling around. But in a moment I'll take it up to about 45% throttle and this thing will really start moving. So the last thing I'll mention as well is a little tip regarding the ESC that now come installed in these ready to fly versions of the Bonsai 2. The YEP 18 amp ESCs, when you go through the throttle calibration, you not only have to do the throttle calibration, you also have to tell it whether or not you want soft start as well. Now because this was the first YEP ESC that I'd ever done, I unfortunately managed to turn soft start on, so I'll put an image here of the YEP manual, just follow that along. So what you have to do is calibrate your throttle if you're going to do that, which I would recommend, and then also just put the throttle in the right position just to make sure that you don't activate the soft start. So if you do what I did, where the throttle response is very gentle and very relaxing, which is the opposite of what you want for a crazy cool little wing like this, that's the answer. So hopefully that those of you who are interested in what's changed, that's answered that. I do like the fact that we now have an FPV mount. I'm probably going to add the little Runcam Nano into the nose and put a standard kind of elite transmitter in the back over the centre of gravity to make sure that everything continues to balance. But I really like the new geometry and upgraded servos and upgraded connection and controls onto the control surfaces, and the ESC motor and prop combo are a nice setup too. So if you're in the northern hemisphere and you're looking for a wing to play with over these darker winter months on those calm, cool, cold days, then this is definitely something to have a look at because it's easy to transport and it's a perfect size for flying in parks and fields and those smaller open places. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video, and particularly for watching right to the very end. We try and release a video on Tuesday and Friday, and sometimes we'll release 1 or 2 extra ones in a week as well. All of the videos on the channel are organised into easy to use playlists, so do have a look in there, because if you're interested in a subject, we organise all the videos on that subject so you can find them easily all together in one place. If you like what we're doing, then please like and subscribe and tell others about the channel so they can come and join as well. We're available in all of the usual social media places, particularly in places like Instagram, Twitter, and we also share all of our 3D designs on Thingiverse.